9. Check the radio, pit crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet. Not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Everybody get ready. On your feet. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Crank it up. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Crank it up.
And hello to all you wonderful people out there around the world and around on PTM Racing TV. We are here now live at Kansas Speedway here in Kansas City, Kansas. Tonight, we present to you the action from Joe's Six Pack Racing League, presented in part by Joe's Six Pack Podcast. It is the Next Gen Cup Cars down at Kansas Speedway. I got everyone. I am Christian the Crusader Driver, and welcome back to the show. As always, we prepare for a hot stuff show here tonight. We prepare to go racing and go battling it out with the best and the brightest drivers around. And now we were going to see them all presented here on PTM Racing TV of Joe's Six Pack Racing League. Here and now, let's take a look at our starting lineup on the pole. It's going to be Anthony Garland in the 81. Is outside. That'll be Robert Tuiscu, the third, and the 28. Row number 2 is going to be Wayne Garland in the 84. Is outside. Johnny Barker in the number 6. Row number 3 is going to be David Lomaga, and the 34 is outside. That'll be the 12 of Josh Bromfield. Row 4 sees Chris Fafke, and the 27 is outside. That's the 21, Rob Lowell. Row number 5 is going to be Joshua Hale, and the 20 is outside. The 61, Keith Fonseca. Row 6, it's going to be Mike Killenbeck, and the 70 is outside. This 82, Debbie Hutchins. Row number 7 is going to be Greg Drace, and the 64 is outside. All the way from Ireland, Al Reed. Row number 8 is going to be Wayne Dewey out of Canada, and the 11 is 69. That's Joshua Benton. Row 9 sees Gary Wright, and the 90 is outside. The 99, Jeff Barefoot. Row number 10 is going to be the 9, Brian Wilczek, out of Canada as well, and is outside the 45. That's Darrell Wells. Row number 11, your final starter, Stephen Parker Hamilton, out of the UK, baby. And the 66, race fans, time to get the show on the road. And the drivers prepare to do battle. Expect some different camera angles here tonight with these drivers. We've got a whole new lineup of camera angles we are showcasing here on PTM Racing TV. So be sure to keep your eye on these camera angles as we go along for the ride here tonight. Field getting ready to get them stretched out into position. Preparing to do battle. It's going to be a hot lineup here tonight. A lot of hard drivers, a lot of hard racing in between. It's going to be interesting to see just who can stabilize themselves the most and who can stay out of trouble the most, considering everything that plays out on this track here tonight. We'll line them up into position, get them ready to go for the green flag and the restart. Out and about, we're ready to go racing at Kansas. Here they come across the line of turn 1. They'll fight them down into turn number 2. Everyone leading off of the pack, trying to get the early jump start. The hot weather here, clear skies, and a little bit of a clock at 3:50 here on the timestamp here on PTM Racing TV right now, showcasing these drivers at their toughest and at their proudest. The skies will change as we go along. You can see a little shade coming over the track here. Sky's still pretty clear out here. Just the sun's not bright as much as they should be. But as one thing that is bright and clear as can be, it's definitely the run right now with Anthony Garland in the 81. He has the lead with Robert Tuisku right behind him, looking to put the bomber ahead. Maybe looking to drop a couple bombs on Anthony Garland here, trying to build some speed. You can see though Garland doing a great job stabilizing it up top and bringing it back down low to avoid the draft. Drafting going to be a big fee factor for these next-gen Cup cars tonight. Down across that front straightaway here today as they field him in position. David Lamarca right now trying to make the change and make the charge. Got a little runoff there on the outside. Now brings it back in, trying to hope for the best, while the 84 of Wayne Garland trying to get up there, a family member, Anthony. Firing them down off the corners here. You can see the speed and control these drivers possess here on the 1.5 miles. This is going to be one thing that's going to be tricky for these guys all around, is surviving that dirty airflow around the cars. That's the biggest thing I've noticed here with these next-gen cars, is when they're on a 1.5 miles, really, it's all about the draft and it's all about the speed you can garner. That's that 550 horsepower package that does a number on them. We've seen it before, what it can do. It can make for some good moves, and it can make for some bad moves here. Either way, it makes for some good racing if they can get it in, and that's exactly what they're up to. Firing them off into the corner as we go here. Everyone moving ahead through the chains. Al Reed now looking like he's going to make a move off there in the Digital Motorsports number 3. Trying to put the Chevrolet up ahead. We go on board with him. And you can see a little bit of that twitchy nature that this car kind of represents here. The steering still having to be a little bit tinkered and tampered with a little bit more than I'd say. iRacing hasn't quite got to it yet, but neither has NASCAR, so that's that one thing for you. Anthony Garland losing the race lead early on. Robert Tuisku making a move off him, taking it away. Easily. Oh, look out, coming out of turn 1. Major wreck ensues. We got a caution. Caution flags out. Driver's trying to avoid it and get out of that mess quickly. Looks like Brian Wojcik was trying to avoid it and almost find himself on the receiving end of one of those there. Wayne Garland, though, involved in the wreck. We'll take a look at the PTM instant replay. And Anthony Garland, excuse me, not Wayne Garland. I apologize for that little misconception. Here's our look at it here, coming down on that front straightaway. Watch right here as it comes out the corner. Good run here coming up, but the 70 kind of drifts up slightly into Anthony. And bam, major head collision course there. Mike Killenbeck did not realize where he was at or what was going down until it was too little too late. And that's one thing these drivers are going to have to face all day long, is making sure that they don't get too close up and personal with these drivers, because these things do not like that at all. One more look at it from an onboard camera. There's a Killenbeck's camera here. You can see Garland kind of catching him there. You can see the damage done and all that madness kind of happening in between. Everyone trying to avoid him and the wreckage behind. That'll bring the drivers back up to stuff and back onto the track here. Field them back down and we'll see what happens. So our first caution of the night here, unfortunately, definitely not the way these drivers wanted to have that play out or what they wanted to see done here at the moment. It's going to be a bit of a long shot all night long on how everybody handles their nerves and how everyone handles track here and the cars. So while the field gets stretched back in here tonight, race fans, we're going to go ahead and cut to a quick commercial break. But when we come back, we're going to see some more action from these drivers. Someone eventually is going to win this one out of Kansas, but who can maintain the speed and the distance? Well, there really is only one way to find out. Stay tuned with us here on PTM Racing TV. Well, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's race has been brought to you in part by the good friends over at Joe's Six Pack Podcast. Weekly update on league news standings, previous of upcoming event races. Also interviews with admins, broadcasters, painters, league owners, social media managers from all around the sim racing world. Joe's Six Pack Podcast, definitely great to have them on board. Appreciate their support to the show as well as these drivers here. Obviously a big field day of field coming in here as well, but mainly the thing to watch out for is our top 9 drivers on display here. David Lamaga right now. Lamaga is currently your number 1 seed going into tonight, up by about 9 points over Jonathan Humphrey. Old Humphrey down there. He's currently a little bit farther back in the field, but he is actually not with us here tonight. So this will be pretty much a field day for Lamaga. Third right now, Anthony Garland. You just saw that wreck, unfortunately. There currently, though, with 310. He needs a good point stay to kind of keep that lead and keep himself in position. Josh Brownfield looking at a 290 right now with Keith Fonseca and 275. Robert Tuiscu. If he can get a good race here tonight, he'll have some serious points payday on his roster. And obviously not getting the point for the pole. That honor going to Anthony Garland. So a big help for him there, and obviously the most laps led still up for grabs. The winner gets 46 points, second getting 42, third 41, and then 40, and then 39, 38, so on and so forth from the list down the row. Points are going to matter big time for these drivers. Rounding out your top 9, Albert Reed currently with 272. He needs a good field day there with Tuisco, Johnny Barker, 255, and then Gregory Drays, 252, the only really possible contender here tonight from these drivers in this field. Certainly makes for an interesting concept and an interesting field day here as our drivers get ready to fire him back up. For David Lamaga right now, he needs to just stay focused on what is what he knows he can do, which is just hang with the field and hang with the charge. If he can get a good point stay in, that's one thing, but he needs more than just a good point stay. He needs to just survive the race out. Green flag back on out. Not the best restart, I would say, there out of the gate. Could be a bit of a factor that benefits Robert Tuiscu here more than anything. On the restart there, Keith Fonseca now putting the U.S. Army 61 right into the fight. He puts him on the field and onto the track. He puts him in for the run-up to get to Tuiscu. Robert trying to keep the Marines or bot machine up ahead. If I had to guess, there's a lot of Army drivers out there and a lot of military brats, so Marines, U.S. Army, and looks like the Air Force represented here tonight. If I had to guess, probably a Patriot Schemes kind of night tonight, and I'm loving it every minute of it. Veterans Day was just on the 11th, so be reminded of that, folks. If my grandpa is watching, first off, thanks grandpa for watching again, and happy Veterans Day again. I know I've already said that 1,000 times, but gotta root for my my old Army brat grandpa. The 69, Joshua Ben getting a little tangled there. Rob Lowell, and then number 21, rocking his Army's colors here tonight. Onboard camera here with him now as he continues to march the camo machine up ahead. Got a great burst of speed here as he leads up, but look on the outside now. Looks like Lamaga's going to have a good run here. Lamaga trying to get a jump off on the outside while the 3 here of Al Reed looking to make him work and make it stick. Anybody's guess on who's going to be able to bring this one home. Firing them off the corners here again. The only Irishman we've ever had on PTM Racing TV. And that's only one that has ever podium on PTM Racing TV. It is still quite the sight, quite the see. We've had Englishmen come on before here, as we got Stephen Parker Hamilton still driving around here in that Monster Energy 66, but not had the best night, unfortunately, for his end. Had a bit of problems earlier on. Been trying to get back at it and trying to get better about it, but it's just not been as easy as I think he was hoping for. As we go on board here with the U.S. Army's David Lamaga right now trying to move up the chains on the outside line, building up some serious speed to hang on. Gaining some ground here. That 550 horsepower package right now is making these cars work for every inch they can, and even a little bit more so. Look out down there. Whoa! Keith Fonseca got sent to the shell realm on the grassy plains, got sent up top and then put back down to the bottom. I don't think that's what he had in mind, but unfortunately, that is what the 34 De Lamaga and him get into it with. Joshua Ben now moving up top and moving into the bottom lane. Al Reed right there on the outside trying to hold him back from getting the corner off. Major speeds initiated down on the track. Every driver for themselves here, of course. A lot of ground coverage, a lot of ground clearance. You can't be making too many mistakes out there. You got to kind of focus in on your shots and focus in on the right times. Debbie Hutchins, we know her all too well. It's great to see her back out on the track and fighting out with the boys. One of the older gals out there, but she knows how to run them still. She can fight it with the best of them. We'll go on board here with him, and sure she tries to catch up there with Anthony Garland. Now Garland, despite that problem he had earlier on, he's certainly helping himself up to a little bit of a feast back up to the front. He needs to get some serious points in order to maintain a chance at being the champion. Remember, there's only a few more races left to go, and just a heads up, we will be broadcasting these guys constantly here from time being. We'll have a little break here in December, but when we get to January, we will return with their regularly scheduled races, and we will be broadcasting their entire season here on PTM Racing TV. So if you haven't already and you want to see these guys come out and race some more, please do like and follow on our Facebook and subscribe here, of course, on YouTube, and ring that bell notification so you know we're going live. Rob Lowell with the corner off on the bottom lane there. You see a 6'9" Joshua Benton giving him plenty of room down there. These cars are it's just so hard to pass these cars, but the one thing that makes them fun and interesting to try to take down with is, again, you have that speed that kind of lets guys kind of stay away from being challenged in as much. It really makes them work a lot harder. With this much of a driver pack, though, if you can get the draft to work and really march your way up front, it really helps out. But again, this is, you know, I kind of wondered myself, and I wondered about this too when we were going on live tonight. Is this what the future of NASCAR represents with these next-gen cars? Is this what they're after? Because, I mean, if anything, it keeps guys more in that pack, keeps things a little bit more interesting. I'll admit that up front, but I kind of find it a little bit more interesting when it was down at Talladega and Daytona, where you kind of had to be. This is more, you're kind of hoping and praying that dirty draft air doesn't ruin your run up to the front. This pit strategies kind of be a little bit more intertwined, a little bit more serious. Whereas you gotta also be careful about that, which is that big bump and shot hit right there. Pretty much getting bumped and run is easier said than done to build speed up after that. That's a lot of hard hits there that Rob Lowe just took. You pretty much send it down there and get it, you're up there. Usually you can throw a slider on that part of the track, but that did not work out the way they were hoping for. On board here, Robert Tuisco, as he tries to battle for the race lead here. Lomaga trying to hold him down. Lomaga with a run on the inside, makes a huge charge. The 34 is your new leader. And the 31 of Keith Fonseca right behind him, making some runs, making some eyeing of positions. You can see a little damage on that left rear corner panel. I'm not sure if it'll pop up on our camera here, but we'll see. Yeah, you can see a little bit of that fender bender down in there. Take a look at the rear fender right behind the wheel. You see a little scratched and bruised. Canvas kind of opening up on that well. No big deal. Obviously, these cars can take it, and they'll certainly have at it here for later on. Marching the charge down that back straightaway, though. The number 12, Josh Broomfield, moving the chains, fighting it out here with the 99, Jeff Barefoot. You know, I don't know if Fred Schaefer, the driver. Oh, whoa, hold on. Woo. Well, they're getting a little bit dicey up here, ain't they? Well, looks like the 6-1 of Fonseca got into it. One of the drivers down there. I'm not sure who that was exactly. We can take a look at the PTM replay, and we're going to see this one in through. Take a look at it. Look at it right now. Al Reed here in the number 3 Digital Motorsports machine. Great driving, though, by Al Reed. Just goes to show you how well these cars can handle when it comes to getting back off the gas and getting themselves straightened out. Usually, in those 6th-gen cars, they would have probably wrecked out and it would have been a cluster down there. But no, they managed just to hang on and stabilize them down. Great driving on their end as they continue to fight it out. And you can see even that damage, even though there is damage on these cars, they surprisingly are holding up. I am impressed. This actually is pretty good to see here. Even if you got a damaged car up, they actually work out all right. That was one thing I was always considering when we were going to get back to, when we get to see these cars on the track in this kind of pack, how well can they hold with damage up? We've seen with those Gen 6s, they are hard to master because the fact that once you get damage on them, they're pretty much done for. They can't really run as well. Their speed's gone. and they have a lot less runoff unless you're on a short track. Here, though, we're not seeing that. We're actually seeing they're hanging up there, and they're still keeping pace and keeping distance. Excellent maneuvering. That is great to see, though, the fact that that even works to begin with, because, again, we've seen a lot of times here where it basically kind of becomes more of a handicap on drivers, knowing that they cannot get these cars to balance out and stabilize with how much runs and bumping and banging they'll take on the track. Firing them off down the back straightaway here. Rob Lowell trying to get the 21 right up ahead, while the number 20 of Josh Hale rocking the wee. Number 20 is Ford Mustang. Although I will say, out of all the cars out here, the Ford Mustang, honestly, no offense to anyone that's a Chevy or a Toyota, but come on. You can't tell me that Ford Mustang does not look this bit sweet. I'll probably have the Ford jokes coming at me in a minute, but I don't care. I love the look of those Ford Mustangs. The Chevrolets look great, and those Toyota Camrys just look about the same as my Toyota Camry. But honestly, that Ford Mustang to me just looks like a Mustang, and that's what they were going for. They did a good job with it. David Lamaga right now, speaking of the Mustangs, they are actually your leaders here. Meanwhile, Robert Tuiskers right behind him trying to gain some ground off. Speed's going to become a little bit more of a headache, if you will, to get around him. Looks like he's starting to build up a little bit of a distance. Meanwhile, right behind him, you can see a little bit of a charge coming up. The 81 Anthony Garland moving to the inside zone. Greg Drace right now is on the outside line, although not for long. Not going to have very much positioning here. He's going to lose a little bit of that draft line here. On board here as he tries to get that Plan B sales. 81 of Anthony Garland. Garland, again, remember, is in the points rush. He needs some help, but he needs a lot of it. Greg Joyce not exactly that far in the points race hunt. He's currently a little bit further back in the pack. But the guys right now that are trying to get up to the front, Garland currently in that third place spot in the points race. And again, he's only out from the leader by about 16 points. So it makes a big position here or two. It can help him out a long ways, and it can actually give him a little bit of help for the future of the season. Every point counts in these races, and especially leading the most and winning the most will help you in so many ways. Josh Bromfield right now going out of here with the number 6, Johnny Barker right up top. Johnny Barker, again, currently 8th in the points in the standings. He's going to need a little bit of help as they come to a caution here. That will initiate our stage break. Halfway point reached. That's going to give these guys all racks stacked to be put back on the attack here for another restart. And that really makes you wonder, too, are they going to be able to handle their nerves and handle the situation now, knowing where they're at in location and knowing what is going to go down in just a minute. Right now, though, your stage winner, David Lamaga, definitely is going to be in the driver's seat, in the cat box seat, if you will, when it comes to having his way and handle the nerves here. Still a lot of racing left here for these drivers, and a lot more to go down here on PTM Racing TV. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, there is more action to be had here on PTM Racing TV. Well, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's race is presented in part by our good friends over at Joe's 6 Podcasts. Weekly update on league news, standings, previews of upcoming races, also interviews with admins, broadcasters, painters, league owners, social media managers from the sim racing world. JSPRL would like to shout out a big thank you to Joe Sixpack Podcast for their support, as well as you fans at home and everyone that's watching across the nation, across the world. I do know there are some Australians that join us, as well as our fellow UK members and our fellow Europe drivers. I believe we got Al Reed to kind of sign on with us, so we appreciate him for coming on board. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure what's going on with that 28, other than maybe he just ran out of fuel, because Robert Tuisku had to get a push there from Al Reed. Good on the Irishman, though, to help out a fellow driver and teammate out there. That's good sportsmanship on his end, obviously. Give everybody a fair shake and a fair chance, but he better make sure he gets into pit road just right. Coming out of pit road, David Lamarca is going to get the fastest out. Joshua Ben will come up second, third, fourth. Instantly coming out as well here. Let's take a look at our pit strategies here and the times it took for them to come out. Here is a pit stop time here, presented by JSP Podcast. So Lamaga coming out with about a 15-second interval. But Ben also coming out with that 15-second interval and helping kind of keep up the distance. Now Killenbeck and Hale, Bromfield, Barker, and Garland all went in, or excuse me, Barker all went in at a very distinct time. So they're gonna have to really rely on their cunning wits and strategy here on how they were playing that out. While Garland and Drace ended up kind of doing their own little thing here. Not a bad idea if you ask me. Gotta stay out of trouble and do your own stuff and do your own way of racing. You don't want to try to force anything on your hand or force yourself into trouble you don't want to be put into. So a halfway point race right now. Drivers will field them back into position. Now, I'm not really sure where our friend there's Pace Car. I was about to say, I was wondering where Fairleigh Neighborhood's Pace Car was at. He's all the way down in turn 2, already on the back straightaway. I was wondering why Joshua Ben and Killenbeck were having such trouble getting up to him. Lamaga going to the outhouse, if you will. I believe he is going to have to serve an EOL. Not for sure why. I may think that it has something kind of do with like what Spartan Logistics Management LLC iRacing IROC Series does, which is if you win the stage, you have to then work your way from the back because you gain stage points. That's the only thing I can think of. I do not believe he was served a penalty in pit road for his pit stop exit. Although I've been very, very wrong before, so we'll have to see what happens there. Drivers lining up into position now here, getting ready to fire them back off. Double file them in here. Joshua Ben and Mike Killenbeck will be the new leaders off the start here on the top row, and that could be a bit of a change up, a bit of a changing of the guard, if you will. It's going to be interesting to see who can maintain position and strike it big while it can. And yes, also, folks, if you're wondering at home why you see the Tower of Doom changed its logo, well, believe it or not, we actually had the wrong logo up there to begin with, so our apologies there. We had to make sure we threw the right one up. There's one thing I'm good at least on PTM Racing TV, besides maybe announcing, I guess some people think. It's yelling at my producers to get these things fixed when I notice them, so good for them to do it at least, and hopefully now that's the last little glitch graphic gremlin we deal with here now. But off the restart air of turn number 4 to the Joe Sixpack Podcast Race Start Zone, to the green flag we fly. We're underway. Halfway done, halfway to go. Mike Killenbeck, definitely not the restart he was looking for. Joshua Ben, a tremendous restart. Got a whole lot of run, got a whole lot of speed built around now. Makes the charge into the back straight away. They go. Everyone looking for position here, firing him off. Killenbeck, though, he's making that time up. He had just a minute ago from onto the outside. Ben trying to hold him down, trying to keep him away. Hale looking for a moment of run, moment of truth, coming onto the front straightaway. Down to the tri-oval D-shaped configuration of Kansas Speedway they go, and Killenbeck gets a huge jump with a draft on the outside. Joshua Hale pushing him ahead. New leader, Mike Killenbeck. And Mike may not be in the championship hunt, but he certainly is making a name for himself come next season. He knows what's at stake and what he's going for. He's still looking for a point stay and a half and a little bit of some redemption from the hardships this season he's been presented, but he's doing a pretty good job right now, hanging in there and giving these guys what it's worth. On board here with Johnny Barker right now and that Toyota Camry as he tries to maintain the distance. Barker with 255 points here to the leaders 326 of David Lamaga here in the standings. A big point stay here if he can get right up to the front. Look out, though. Killenbeck lost a lot of ground there. And then number 70 putting right to the outside. Joshua Ben regains the lead in a big round of speed coming off that corner end. But watch out for this man right here, Anthony Garland. He is a man on a mission. He started in the lead here to start this race. He was up front. Now wants to get put back up front. Only with a slight misconception of error and communication did he mess up. One thing I'm noticing with these next-gen Cup cars is that really, again, because of that dirty air and that dirty draft zone, they kind of force drivers to kind of have to block a lot more. And now I'm not opposed to that in some ways, but I mean in other ways, if you're having to block more and you're having to do stuff like that, doesn't that technically mean you're kind of lean yourself more into the whole idea of the bump and run? And I know a lot of folks out there have never been a huge fan of those bump and runs, but of course if we're running on short track racing and that kind of stuff, well, contact sport is inevitable. Depends on how you look at it, but I mean, I personally love the bump and runs, but I've always been kind of disregarded them on the mile and a half and the bigger tracks. Anything mile over, that to me is just like overkill. That's not really worth trying to do. But again, these cars may change my mind there because they may be able to handle it. We don't know. We'll have to see, but here at the moment anyway, these cars have definitely given pretty good results and pretty good battles here. So this, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the first time we've ever seen these cars on a mile and a half to begin with. So cookie cutters be darned, but they're, in my opinion, they're putting on a pretty good show. Back on board here with Al Reed right now as he tries to keep his distance, keep up the position zone. Got a lot of work to do though for that digital motorsports machine. He's up 6 spots here tonight. Not the ultimate hard charger tonight though. That honor goes to the man up front in the big U.S. Army Desile Rock the Veterans colors. That is Joshua Benton. He's been hammering and wailing this thing up the lead for quite a few laps now. He's looking to try to keep that distance, keep his way in. I take it back. It's not U.S. Army, a little bit. Well, it's military colors to begin with. Is what I meant to say, not U.S. Army colors. So. Distance right now, trying to close the gaps up. Joshua Hale still drafting as he's 7 spots up here tonight. Mick Halenbeck right there with him. He's up 8 at the moment, while Josh Bromfield only up 2. Started back at 6 here to start this race as Garland has a little bit of a problem down there. The internet connectivity is one thing, but when the glitch graphic gremlins come to town, you know you better get out of trouble. He's going to go straight to the bottom and get out of the way of everybody else. I don't know if I necessarily would have gave up that quickly, but I mean, at the same time, you got to respect his commitment to at least let the drivers try to race a clean, fair race, as Jeff Barefoot has a little bit of a love tap to the wall and gives it a little kiss down there. I don't know if that's exactly what he had in mind, but it ended up kind of playing out that way. I guess the wall needs a kiss or two every now and then. I mean, I know Valentine's Day is only just around the corner here. It's coming in February, but again, we still have some mistletoes to catch around here at Christmas. But for all that, of course, we got to make sure we get the drumsticks in and get our turkey legs in place because Thanksgiving's coming down the road. But speaking of having a little bit of a feast, looks like Joshua Hale, he doesn't just want to have a feast. He wants to have the full course meal. Into the lead he goes. Taking it over from Joshua Ben. Ben not able to hammer him down and keep him there in position. Great driving on his end to make sure he stays out of trouble and stays in position. But with only about 30 laps remaining, which one's going to make the mistake and get the bump off there? The 70 of Mike Kalenbeck gets a charge and a piece of Joshua Ben in that 69. Ben, I'm not sure if he was going to be able to get out of that one. He's not getting out of that one. He gets into it there with Josh Bromfield, and Benton's car is all but good riddance. Oh my goodness, on the front straightaway, takes a huge lick and a half there. He took one from the start, now he takes one even worse than the other. Let's take a look at the PTM replay. That was the initial contact made there, and unfortunately for him, not what he wanted to see whatsoever. What a tough break for him and the crew there. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot of things he's going to be thinking about for a while if he gets back into this one. Right down the back here of the field, Brian Wojcik on the number 9 trying to rock on for Canada here and trying to make something out of nothing. While the 82 Debbie Hutchins trying to stay in her own place in her own draft line zone. 6-1 to keep Fonseca right there with them as well. Drivers in the back still fighting out, but but really everyone wants to focus in on is that big pack in the fight. Nobody giving it an inch and nobody giving any chances here whatsoever. The onboard camera here, Greg Joyce here, just shows you how close and how fast they can get, but also how much cornering they must do to stay in position. Looking at the last lap, looking at our best lap times right now currently. Everybody extremely close in their spots and in their position here. Al Reed though with the fastest with a 30.48. A 30.48 is definitely quite a time that I would not sneeze at, or I would want to try and think how well it went. Makes for some big moments, makes for some tough racing, that is for certain. And then you can take a look at the last laps here and you can just see again just how close everybody is, how fast it is, but at the same time, I've had it said before, I'll say it again, it almost just reminds me so much of pack racing. You know, it feels like we're trying to move the style of Daytona and Talladega over to, you know, the mile and a half, and I'll be honest with you folks, I'm just not really sure how I feel about that. It's not something bad, it's just something different, and really it wasn't what I was expecting. I think over time we'll just kind of get used to it, and as a broadcaster you just kind of get kind of more regarded with it, but hey, you never know. I will say this though, with teams and stuff here, I will say teams are going to make the biggest difference on tracks from now on. I will say that right here and now. They are going to be making things a lot more difficult for those single teams and those drivers that kind of want to try to ride their own wave of success. Teaming up with drivers is going to be almost essential with these cars. While drivers still leading them through the field here, through the packs. Let's go on board here with another Ford Mustang driver here, Josh Bromfield, as he continues to keep the 12 in play and keep it on the chart. You can see a little bit of the clouds and the skies kind of reflecting over his helmet there. That's one unique thing about iRacing is, again, the reflections, the shadows, the way this track and everything kind of plays in. It is incredibly impressive just to see what kind of a difference makes when you got a kind of this whole landscape that you usually would not see from kind of times like a piece. I'm talking like if I was kind of referring to, I was trying to make a statement here. I was trying to think about what we see on NASCAR Heat versus what we see on iRacing. Obviously, it's just like night and day, and even NASCAR Ignition just still just doesn't quite resonate as well as I think it should. But I'll tell you one thing that resonates up to the front. It has the standings leader of David Lamaga here, has a little bump and run yet again on Killenbeck. Gets tagged there, I believe, by the 28, Robert Tuiscu. Tuiscu having a little bit of a powerhouse move there on that U.S. Marines afterburner. I'm still not sure if that was exactly his goal or his strategy, but he ended up getting a piece of him either way. Pushing his run right in position now. Al Reed, the number 3, trying to get the Digital Motorsports RST machine up ahead. Looking to podium again here. The Irishman looking to make a run off, looking for the charge. He's got the 20 of Joshua Hale right behind him. Anybody's guess on who can make this one work and who can make this one stick. Gonna be a bit of a long shot here. Gonna be a pretty tough endurance here for these drivers. .21 laps will change to 20 laps to go here, and you can see again drafting is just extremely crucial to survival to the finish for these drivers in these packs right now trying to move in. Al Reed, Lamaga, Josh and Hale all in that same position, that same spot. Bromfield looking like he's going to use a little bit there from Greg Drace, and now this is kind of turning into a bit of an interesting situation. We're kind of relying now on the tandem drafting spot. Earlier on, you remember, we were in a huge pack of drivers. Now that's completely changed. Honestly, it's kind of interesting to me. They had a huge pack of guys here all over the place. Now it's turned into kind of the tandem drafts. Ready to try to get one driver kind of locking in, trying to get one driver locked up on position and maybe get the bumper pushed in so they can make moves. It's extremely interesting here. I'm very surprised. You can see Lamaga though, he is just using that he's using every ounce of that mirror to his advantage, using extreme smarts and using very clever tactics to keep everybody away from making moves off him. You can obviously tell they have to lift still in the corners. That's no different there. They still have to lift in on those runs and stuff. But again, just kind of just judging off that speed and momentum, it's just there's not much there. Once you get right up to them, it pretty much then kind of turns into a bit of a crapshoot. Can you make a run off on them, or do they fall layer in weight? Wayne Dewey right now, the other Canadian here in the number 11, trying to mount some kind of charge. Is up 3 spots here tonight. Up ahead of fellow Canadian Brian Wilczek, we've seen it earlier, but the 11 in this case still looking for anything he can there, as well as Jeff Barefoot. As drivers now head into pit road. Pit strategies now and it has to be tested here. A lot of it having to do with the fuel running, the fuel strategy. Remember that these guys are only coming in here with 60% of fuel tonight. Tires will make a difference. They'll have to rely on that as well. So I believe all of them will go for at least 4 sets. If they went for only 2, it could run the risk of burning out the right sides here. Josh Bromfield, though, is going to be a race leader here as Gary Wright in the 90 tries to gain something with him to head into pit road. Having a little bit of trouble braking, though. Got it to brake at least. And Jeff Barefoot now moving into second place. Bromfield stays out. Bromfield staying out at the moment here. I'm not really sure if he's looking to possibly make something work out of nothing. Maybe looking for a little bit of a hope and prayer, if you will. I mean, not a bad idea by any means. He definitely needs any laps he can get, any points he can get, because again, 290 versus a 326 definitely makes up a difference. But with the way these drafts have worked and the way these cars have been pounding all day long, is really going in for a later pit stop going to be a successful maneuver. I think he's going in for a little less fuel, and he may be only taking 2 sets of tires down there. That's the only way I can feel like he can get in there and out quickly. We'll see. He's going to head into pit road now. He's going to get in. There's the right side. So will he get both? Or is he just going to do the right and fuel? He's going to stay in there. So he's doing both tires. All 4 is going on. Oh, no, wait a minute. It looks like he's only doing 4. Looks like he's only doing a fuel run, too. It's only right sides and fuel. I got a little bit of a longer pit stop than I thought it should be. That gives Joshua Hale and Johnny Barker the lead. David Lamarga and Francesca all charging up there with them. Joshua Hale and Johnny Barker currently now left high and dry, all on his own. The 6'6" Stephen Parker Hamilton, maybe a slight saving grace there for Joshua Hale. He's going to need every ounce of help he can get. 14 laps remain. Drafting is going to be a saving grace here. Can he get a little hand from them? Because these guys right now, if they can push that pack up to him, they're going to catch him. Bit of an interesting situation. Again, a big pack of drivers coming up with great speeds and great momentum. Kind of, again, one step closer, getting up there further into the field and really distances themselves out. Only a 3-second lead separates them out. And again, if they got about maybe 5 or 10 more miles per hour of speed, that certainly will make a difference when you got 2 lines you have to block and defend. Losing time, losing grip here. Look at this. You can see the gain in the car. Barker right now is right there up to him. 2 2/10 now. Separate them out here. It's going to be even less here. Here comes the back. I guess that's the reason why they call it Joe Six-Pack Racing. You got a 6-pack of drivers looking to fire him off at him. Lamaga, the point standings reigning defending champ right now. Reigning defending leader here. Looking to add on to his collection, but he's going to have the 6 of Johnny Barker kind of in his way as a little substitute for making a move off or 2. Joshua Hale looking to hang on and hail the crown above him. We're down to the final 11 laps. Chances are closing. Opportunities are opening. This is now looking for a runoff. Look at David Lamar on the outside. He's going to make a move off them, looking for the race lead. Here comes that full throttle assault. Chubbs on the outside, coming down that turn 3. And Al Reed perfectly times it as well. Nicely done there. And unfortunately for Hale, he gets sent back to the back. He'll have to try to gain off ground from the draft here. He's got the 28 locked in here with Robert Tuiscu. He gets Tuiscu behind him, looking to try to hopefully hang in there. Al Reed and David Lamaga doing a tremendous job strategizing that runoff on the outside. Made a great maneuver off. Johnny Barker in the number 6 trying to get the Camry up there with him. You got a 3 manufacturer deal. Changing in with David Lamaga, Al Reed, and Johnny Barker in it to win it. Which one is it going to be, though? Because, again, they've got to start pushing a little harder if they want to catch into it. 9 laps remain. Every turn is going to count. Every corner will matter. Is there anything left for these drivers to gain off? And is there anything left they can do? Bobble for Barker. Barker loses in, goes into the back. 3 wide salute off of turn 3. And the Rowdy Energy drink, number 6, not having a good time keeping up that speed and transition these drivers are possessing here. Joshua Hale further and further in the back. His strategy did not work out the way he was hoping for. I think he was looking for a lot better substance and a little bit more work there, but it just did not play out the way he was going. A bit of a tough break there for him. Right now, the 61 of E. Fonseca looking to make a move now off of Barker on the outside, trying to put the U.S. Army machine ahead. The black and gold with a little white in the told, trying to move the chains. 7 remain, though, here coming on the front straightaway. It is still Lamaga with the race lead. Al Reed right behind him, looking for everything he can to make that slight adjustment, that slight error ahead. He knows if he's going to strike, he's got to do it quickly here. Stephen Parker's going to go the outside. That may have been a slight opening for Al Reed, unless he can get him ahead again. Yep, Stephen Parker Hamilton just trying to stay out of trouble, trying to give every one of these drivers a fair shake and a fair chance. Good on him. 6 laps remain. Excitement now building up for this final run. 5 laps remain. Five to go. Al Reed, you can see the sky starting to fade out a little bit. The sky's turning darker. The clouds are starting to change. That could change the track up slightly to where it actually cools it down a slight bit more. It ain't going to do much, but when you think about it, the speeds these cars are carrying, those tires, and the way they're running off the track, if it slicks it up just a little bit or tightens it up ever so slightly, it could make things a little more difficult for a runoff or a built rate versus speed. So any chance they can find now really is going to make the difference with 4 laps to go. Lamaga holding now with everything he's got. Robert Tuisco back into the fighter, into the fray, if you will, but ends up getting a little too hard in the corner. Into the wall protection he goes. Did not seem to find that one the way he was hoping for. Al Reed right behind now. Looks like it could go either way. Final laps now approaching. 3 to go. The next time by, the green flag flies high in the air to represent 2. And then that 1 lap left means white flag comes out. Give credit where credit's due to all these drivers for putting on a fight and putting on a show. Oh, look out! Whoa! Huge wreck coming out of turn 1. Major catastrophe has struck. And I think that might have been Wayne Garland involved in that one. Unfortunately, a huge wreck though ensuing. The whole field now going to be stacked, packed, and all that. 2 green, white checkers coming up. Oh, what the heck happened here? Take a look at the replay. Wayne gets into it with the 90. Whoa. Looked like he tried to drift it up there, and Garland could not get out of it in time. The 90 was being manned there by Gary Wright. Wright was on the lead lap there, and I'm not really sure where that started from to begin with. We'll take a look at the onboard camera here. Wayne Garland. I couldn't tell you for sure what had happened until literally the last bit. Looks like Wright may have been trying to shift it down more to the bottom end. It's hard to tell. Oh my goodness. Oh. From my angle, it's hard to tell, but it looked like the 90 was trying to get back down on the track for a good position to field in, and that may have been the catastrophe they were not expecting. And the end result is now Lamaga's work is going to be put into question if he did enough of it. Oh my, what an absolute horrible break to be given. We've always been told you get dealt a bad hand, but at the same time you can also be dealt the worst kind of hand, and that's exactly what just transpired here on PTM Racing TV. A horrible break, to say the least. So now, that honestly, if this is what fans like to see, then you're gonna get a piece of it. It's gonna be a green-white checkered restart. They get 2 attempts. This will be the first one. And really, if you ask me, this is probably the worst end to be at, and this is kind of the worst spot to be on, because you've literally got to deal with the added pressure of drivers trying to push their limits and push themselves into full gear territory. I can't say for sure how this one's going to play out or how this one's going to end up being, because this is really anybody's guess, to say the least. The Digital Motorsports number 3, Al Reed. He's been in the podium before. He would like to do it again. David Lamaga, the U.S. Army 34. The Army brat trying to keep it in on the attack. His fellow Army driver there, Keith Fonseca, trying to do the same. And then the Marines 28 of Tuescu. Earlier on, had a great deal of speed and a great deal of control, but then kind of found himself on the receiving end of that wall protection a little bit more than I think he realized it. Since then, though, he's been a little bit under control and a little bit more stable on his end. So here we go. Drivers looking to build up every ounce of speed, every ounce of gain they can now. There is one last hope and chance for them to win it. You're either in it to win it or you're fighting for survival. Off the back straightaway, these drivers are going to challenge each other to their fullest and the absolute. Remember as well, folks, tonight, presented by our good friends over at Gearhead Coffee, we're going to see Pedal the Metal Racing League return with a race at Dover in the Cup Series. Last time was at Watkins Glen. How will they transfer that speed there to Dover? We'll find out. It should be a good one, but right now, Joe Sixpack Racing League looking to finish this one out and finish out a heated exchange between these drivers. Unreal stuff so far this week and so far this racing ordeal. Which one is going to win it out here and how's it going to play out now? We're about to find out. Green flag high in the air. We'll have 2 and then 1 to go. Al Reed backing off, waiting for the drivers to figure out how they want to pack this one in. Lomaga trying to get a run off there as he continues to build the speed and build the momentum up. He'll try to hang on to Wisku. Johnny Barker also giving up some speeds and some serious build up down on the run. Oh, Josh Brownfield wrecks it right out of the front straight away. Yellow is out, but did it come out before the white flag? They're saying it did. And it looks like there will be one more green-white checkered. Bromfield put in the worst spot, in the worst situation, to say the least. They are going to do one more green-white checker. They're going to try one last time. But here's what happened. Look at that huge run he gets off there. The Wild Ace is number 12, Monster Energy Machine, over the Weed, number 20, Joshua Hale. But he just catches himself in the worst time, and Barefoot gets a piece of it. So does Wojcik. And sends everybody to the shadow realm, if you will. Let's take a look at the PTM instant replay from our camera view here. This is from start to finish where it all started. You can see him throwing it into 5th gear. What's the speed he builds up? Not obviously out everyone using all the track, but you can see right here, makes it move off on the bottom. Great burst of speed, makes it work. Drifts up slightly though, and Hale had nowhere to go. Bromfield just kind of taken for the ride, and so was the 12. And now he finds himself in probably the most inopportune spots here. Has to figure out how to just finish this race out. And his points day of getting anything really is now pretty much put to a solid end. And what a horrible, horrible break for him and his crew. Obviously, he needed a big points day here, and now it's going to put it, it might move him back from 4th into a little bit of a worse for wear spot here. Because remember, those points wise, you need to get a point for that pole, which we already seen Anthony Garland take that. He's pretty much out of the race though, his night over with. So a point for leading lap for the guys that have led lap, like Anthony, like David, you know, Killenbeck and Hale and all of them. They've done it. They have actually got a little bit of help there, but they've, at the end of the day, of that 46 points on the line for being the winner, and also a point for leading the most laps. That really makes the biggest difference out of this field and out of this run here. Well, folks, last restart coming up. Someone's going to take this one home. So which one will it be? Remember, this last green-white checker could really tell the tale and make things a little bit more clear and crystal here. It has been a wild, wild race, to say the least here. I'm honest to God still not sure how to feel about these next gens, these mile and a halves, but I will say, if you give them credit where credit's due, they are making a great showing and a great race, to say the least. These Joe Six-Pack drivers, man, they never give out and they never give anything up to their fullest. You got to give them credit for that, as we now turn the lights off on the pace car. One lap around to the green, and then the green changes to white, and then the white goes to the checkers. Which one will it be? You're either in it to win it, or it's game over. These cars, man, some of them just beat and battered, yet they're still around here running. It's just absolutely amazing to me. How they're able to do it, I have not the foggiest idea, but hey, it's looking alright. Let's lead him down once again off of corner number 4. Which one seals the deal? Which driver ends it out at Kansas? There's only a few races left here in the season. And a whole lot of get and go for these drivers now. Someone's taking this one home. Which one will it be? Green flag back on out. Bad restart there on the 61. It's going to set them back a little bit. For guys like Bromfield, that's not going to help him out at all. But for LaMaga and Al Reed, they'll help him out quite a bit. Reed with a runoff on the back straightaway. Going to get a lot of speed there on LaMaga. LaMaga trying to defend him off. Anybody's guess who's going to make the right move at the right time. Drafting is going to be their saving grace now to victory. Off a corner 4 to the white flag we go. And things are going to heat up around here. Down that back straightaway. Looks like there's a runoff from Gary Wright on the outside. Making a move on Joshua Hale. Looking for everything he's got. The 61 though, unfortunately. Fonseca going up to the wall and taking it down a few notches. That'll hurt his chances of his run. And off of corner 3, good block by David LaMaga will help him win as they wreck behind him. They're coming to the line. LaMaga will win at Kansas. And a huge wreck ensues there. Josh Bromfield going to gain another couple positions. Finishes 10th, which will help him with the points cap. But for David LaMaga, the points don't really matter anymore to him because now he finds himself at the top of the mountain once again and really solidifying his chances to become the season championship winner when all is said and done. And what a tremendous race it was here on PTM Racing TV. A absolutely tremendous showing from the 34. Well, good to know these cars can still do a good burnout once in a while. That is good to see. What a wild, wild finish to say the least here, race fans. Let's take a look at our results now. Here's the final results. David LaMaga wins it out. Second going to Al Reed. Third to Robert Tuiscu. Fourth to Johnny Hale. Fifth to Darrell Wells. Sixth to Keith Fonseca. Seventh to Greg Drace. Eighth to Johnny Barker. Ninth going to Chris Fathke. 10th rounds out the field. Will it be Josh Bromfield? As you see the rest of our field of drivers now on position and their individual rows respectfully. What a night, what a race and event it was here to say the least. Impressive display here from our top 3 drivers. And now joining me here in victory lane, he comes to me here in the 34. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for David LaMaga. And LaMaga, once again, man, just proving your worth and your control and credibility here on PTM Racing TV. Give it a minute here, folks. He may need a minute to get settled up here. Dave, you got a copy, sir? Hold on 1 second, folks. We'll see if I can get him here. All right, David, you got a copy? Nope, no copy yet. Let's see if Al Reed, you got a copy, sir?
I hear you.
All right, hey, well, all right, let's go ahead and talk with our second place finisher while we let David get settled down here in victory lane. Al Reed, ladies and gentlemen, here at the number 3, our fellow Irishman coming to us down here on the track. And Al, my friend, what a wild, wild night of racing to really build up a lot of speed. You had to get kind of sent to the back a little bit, but then moving 12 positions up just to come away second, that's definitely impressive to say the least here in Kansas in the next gens.
Yeah, man, it was pretty cool. I think I qualified like 14th or something like that, and I was like, oh crap, middle of the pack, you don't know what's going to happen, but moved up fairly well. Man, Dave was so tough to get by. He just anywhere I went, he kind of took the air off the front of my car, so I couldn't really. And I tried last ditch attempt there. I think coming out of turn 3, 4, try and go high, try and slingshot around him, just wasn't happening. The guy's a phenomenal driver, so I tip my hat to Dave. Excellent driving again tonight, by him.
Certainly, indeed, you gave it everything he had, and he certainly put up a fight and put on a show. But nevertheless, you still had a good showing for yourself here in second place. So I got to ask you, Al, as you come away second, who do you want to thank you for this one?
My wife. Always got to thank her. Obviously, Greg for the league. The guys, yourself, obviously for the stream. I got to put a special mention into Digital Motorsport as well. Digitalmotorsport.com. They were nice enough to let me use their logos and branding on my car. They are based in Ireland, in Kildare, based out of Montello, and they sell sim racing hardware, steering wheels, bases, pedals, full rigs, motion stuff, whatever you want, and they ship worldwide. So if you're looking or if you're interested in some new sim racing gear, then hit them up on digitalmotorsport.com.
Well, you guys are loud and clear here. If you're international wide, you better check it in worldwide with the boys down at Digital Motorsports. But Al Reed, congratulations, sir, on a great, strong finish here tonight.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, your second place finisher here tonight, Al Reed, in that number 3. We'll now join in here with our third place finisher, Robert Twisku, as we give David Lamaga a minute to kind of settle down here in victory lane. Third place finisher, though, from Detroit, Robert Twisku joins us in now, and Robert had a little bit of trip here, obviously, moving in from the Michigan side down here to Kansas, but he certainly seemed to fit in quite well here with the Kansas blood.
Oh yeah, Kansas, always a good time.
Certainly is indeed, and you had a pretty good time racing it hard down here on the track, making a good showing of yourself here, really building all the speed and all that drafting you gain up. But earlier on, you had a little bit of troubles kind of keeping the car off the wall. Was the steering kind of giving you a little bit of fits, or was it just kind of the way the track and the car was handling?
What I noticed is, my first, 10 laps or so, the steering's real tight. Tires stick real well. I can ride that line all the way around the track. And, I just didn't compensate for it. As my tires heated up, got a little slicker. I just kept pushing, man, trying to stay up front, and got a little loose. Got up in the wall there a bit. I was able to recover, but it is what it is. I knew better.
Certainly is indeed, but nevertheless, you still put on a pretty good showing for yourself and your crew, and I'm pretty sure I hear your family kind of talking in the background, excited for you here tonight. So, as you got a third place finish kind of journeying up here tonight in Kansas, who do you want to thank you for this one?
First, I got to thank, my wife, my family, putting up with us every Sunday. I'd like to thank Jack Daniels for giving me the courage to get out here and race and get on here and do this interview. And Greg for the league, you guys for broadcasting. I love it, man. Big thanks to everybody.
For sure there, whatever else. Robert, congratulations, man. What a finish and a showing for you here at Kansas. We certainly hope to see more of you in the near future, sir.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Twisku, your third place finisher here tonight. And now, finally, joining me here in Victory Lane, David Lamaga. And David, this one I know meant a lot to you and your crew. You had a lot of work going in and a lot of power built on the round. And as Al Reed even said, it was just hard to pass you. What was the secret, sir?
I don't know. The secret was keep everyone behind me. I got up front early with Rob before the comp caution. It was just kind of fiddling around with moving around and seeing how to cut the air behind people, because it seems like once you get a hold of that draft, you can make a run on the outside, on the inside, as long as you got a opening. So I was doing my best to learn what I could about the draft, and I guess I figured something out at the end, because I was moving all over the track to try to keep Al behind me.
You certainly were indeed. It looked like when we were coming down to the end there, it could have really bolstered any way or shape or form.
I was to say I wasn't panicking is an understatement. When you have Al and then you have his teammate Rob right behind him, those two can get together at any point and just move past you. So fortunately I just figured something out with the air. I just kept noticing. I kept moving a little bit on the exits of the turns and kept seeing Al choke a little bit and just slow down. All of a sudden it was just he hit a little bit of a wall of air, and I just kept playing with that wall and trying to maneuver it and trying to keep him behind me, basically, because once he gets past you, forget about it. He's almost impossible to get past.
Well, you made sure that he stayed behind you and made sure you can get yourself into victory lane here in Kansas tonight. So as you send it off here in Kansas City, Kansas, my friend, is there anybody you want to thank here tonight for this finish?
Yeah, I want to thank my wife for, putting up with me every weekend with this stuff, and dealing with me putting these paint schemes together and bothering her with asking her what she thinks about it, and then having to deal with me on Sunday with the race. And then thank my teammate Mike Killingback. We talk pretty much all week and work together and try to come up with some game plans and try to come up with a team strategy. And then thank you for broadcasting. Thank Greg for hosting the league. And thank all the 21 drivers that showed up. I mean, we're getting 21 drivers every weekend, so a big thank you and shout out to everyone who shows up every weekend and who's participating and having a fun time. I mean, without everybody, this league wouldn't be anything.
For sure there. Well, David, we appreciate you coming on board here tonight, my friend. Congratulations. A solid victory here at Kansas. We certainly hope to see more of you in the future as well, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, your race winner here tonight, David Lomaga. And this one settles it down here tonight for your showcase of the Joe Sixpack Racing League, presented in part by Joe Sixpack Podcast. A big shout out to all of them, as well as you fans at home, for watching on here tonight. Stay tuned as we go Facebook Live here in a little while. We're heading down to our friends with Pedal to the Metal Racing League. We will see the Cup Series down at Dover. It'll be a strong showing there, but from all of us here at PTM Racing TV, it's tune in next time, and be sure to subscribe here on our YouTube channel, as well as like and follow us up on Facebook so you never miss the beat, you never miss the shows. We have enjoyed it. We hope you've enjoyed it. We'll see you very, very soon.